And the game has begun. Here we get a shot of Notice at the bottom left. And it looks like at the top right is going to be Oregon cross spots. The pressure is really on for Seoul to start coming back. If they lose this game, the pressure will really be on. And let's be honest, that means there's a lot riding on Notice's shoulders. Notice has never played in a pro gaming match before. He is indeed a pro gamer because he does live with all these pro gamers and train with them, but he is new on the scene. Can he do it for his team? Can he come back and take a win for his team against a player who, while he has not played many games, has also not yet lost any Terran versus Terrans that counted towards his professional gaming record. Common move, the supply depot right at the location the SCVs come out. That's because they make that supply depot on 9 food. And when I say 9 food, I'm talking about the top right food count on the screen. They do that because right when it comes out, they'll have exactly 100 minerals. It's also very convenient to just make it right there. On the other hand, we can see that Notice is making that depot nearby the Vespian gas geyser and the minerals. That's because it forces that SCV to mine a little bit quicker, I believe. At that top left mineral patch, it does look like it almost makes it mine slower. I could be incorrect, but generally, when pro gamers make a depot at their mineral patch or somewhere in there, it's normally for the purpose of forcing SCVs to mine a little bit faster. Now look at this. I believe once again we're going to see very different builds here. One player is going to go for the fast expand early command center. The other player going for the standard build of fast barracks. It appears as though Hanbit very comfortable with this fast expo build. This is probably a build both Terran players have gone over and studied. And I'm interested in seeing, and well, at the same time, also note that it looks like the Seoul players so far, their Terran versus Terran opening seems to be much more about not fast expanding, but instead doing a fairly standard opening. Factory up now for Notice. Due to the cross spot locations, it will be a little bit harder to rush in there with a Vulture. There's the Seoul coach. I've talked to a lot of these pro gaming coaches, and they really talk about how much pressure and stress they feel at these events. These teams have a lot of sponsors. There's a lot of money involved in this, and the last thing these sponsors want to see is their team get owned. So there's really a lot of pressure on these coaches, just as much as there's pressure on the players. Barracks lifted. And it looks like very soon we will see our Hanbit player spotting our white Terran on Seoul at the bottom left. Meanwhile, the same thing is about to happen. In fact, seconds sooner, Notice is going to spot this fast expansion. Note the position of that barracks will make it a lot harder for Vulture bikes to sneak in there. He takes a peek and then backs out. I think it might have been wiser to actually attempt to move that SCV into the main. And again, Notice his response is to very quickly set up that command center, just like we've seen in that other game. Vulture may be on the move anyways. I'm curious as to whether or not our Hanbit player is going to make that bunker. The advantage of the bunker is that it can pick off the Vulture. The disadvantage is you have gone down 100 minerals. We could see possible 2-port Wraith. That's a very common trick strategy after you fast expand, is to suddenly go for a lot of Wraiths. Or no, it looks like we're going to be seeing, in fact, a very fast factory, second factory for Oregon. Vulture bike is probably not going to enter that base because he has not done it already. what I believe is siege mode is being upgraded in both of those, especially when you do the fast expansion build. You generally want to get siege mode next right away because you do need to deflect the possible tank push. But I've also seen some players go for mines and Vulture speed, and then they do a little trick technique where they run into the opponent's base after he decides to move out. We'll have a better idea of exactly what he's going to do once we see that unit in the factory pop out. If it's continuing to be more Vultures, then it's a very strong indicator that it is, in fact, some type of a Vulture technique being used. And the tank is on the move, so we need to figure out whether or not this player is getting a tank out in time. I don't see the tank yet, and he is, in fact, going for the Vultures. And I think all of a sudden he's starting to realize this. Now he's going to have to move in here. He's going to have to plant mines in front of that tank. He did manage to shoot that down in time. He has to get that tank. It's all about that tank. He needs to plant a few mines there, and it looks like Notice is microing pretty well. And indeed, that mine will be triggered by that Marine, but it looks like he will manage to take out that tank, and Notice has wasted a lot of time traveling across the map like that. Another factory, neither player has gotten an armory yet. We have also not seen a starport yet. With that being said, this could be a very tense game. A lot of Vulture usage. I do think Vulture usage can be very strong on this map. There are a lot of backdoors and a lot of nice places that you could plant mines. Here's a bunch of Vultures for Oregon, now planting mines. Oregon, the same color as our last Hanbit player. Now he will have to back up. It's very difficult for Vultures to directly engage other Vultures. Normally it's the Vultures that are stationary that are likely to have the advantage. They will get the first shot off. And this may turn out to be a very intense Vulture game, especially because we are seeing more factories being thrown down for the green player, or should I say teal player, Oregon. And that shows us that in fact he's not going to be getting tanks for a little while. And if he can get enough Vultures, and look at the angle he's coming in here at, that's going to force Notice to move, and it looks like we may see too many Vultures coming in here right now. And if he can get good position, and indeed he will, he has too many Vultures, it's going to be able to take out all of Notice's Vultures with ease, and this may be a rock going down a mountain that cannot be stopped. There are too many Vultures, and even the SCVs coming in here now will be taken out. No problem. More Vultures on the way. And the position here, too, is going to be too much. It looks like there is an armory at the bottom right, so Goliath could come into play, but it might not be in time, and Notice may get his first loss in his pro gaming career. And even though he is now getting backed into a corner, the Vulture speed and the mines are, of course, upgraded, making them very, very powerful. And a lot of mines also being planted there. Remember that he did get that factory advantage early on because he did manage to muster up so much resources with the fast expand build, and the fact that Notice's build was so ineffective in doing any type of damage. Here comes more Vultures on the way. And it looks like Notice is now caught up in factories, but there's no way that he's going to be able to produce at the rate because his SCVs are not mining minerals. Instead, they are being used to help defend, and of course he has to use them to help defend. A possible wise decision for Notice would have been to do some sort of wall-in with a few buildings, at least to help delay this type of rush coming in here, but I'm not even sure if that would have been that effective since the Vultures could still shoot down the building, he should have at least gotten one tank with siege mode, and did a little bit more of a defensive positioning with the buildings to limit the number of Vultures coming in here, and there's more factories being thrown up here, and there is simply no way, I think, for Notice to possibly come back, and now he has walled off those other Vultures with the barracks, and Notice has to say, good game. And Oregon wins another Terran versus Terran, undefeated now on his pro record. Nice play by Oregon. Notice taking his first loss in his first pro gaming game. But a very exciting game at that. Stay tuned, we got more stuff coming up here pretty soon. I'm not sure if we're going to close out just yet. and some very, not necessarily the most enthusiastic high fives, but high fives nonetheless. And I believe our next game is going to be a 2-on-2 on Hannibal. A great map and an awful movie. And I do believe we will be taking a commercial break before that happens. And we have two very interesting players, or I should say four actually, coming up here pretty soon. I believe within the meanwhile we're going to get those computers set up for that 2-on-2. So right now there's a lot of pressure on Seoul. Seoul is down 2 games. If Seoul loses this 2-on-2, it's over. There's no other game. There's nothing else we can do, and the exhibition match will end with Hanbit stars, a team which is ranked 1 rank below Seoul.